Hello, my name is Dr. Michelle DeMary, and I'll be your professor as we study the material for Accounting 210 Legal Environment over the next 4 weeks. Um, my information is here, as you can see on the syllabus, and I'd like to spend a little time in the next 10 or 15 minutes going over the syllabus to make sure that we have the same expectations for what is going to happen over the course of the next 4 weeks. Okay? One important thing to know about me is that I do enjoy speaking with students, being accessible to students. And I say that up front because, as you'll note on my syllabus here, I don't have office hours scheduled because it's been my experience that students aren't necessarily available, especially during winter break over the times that I say I'm in office hours. And so I sit and wait for students to come. They don't come and see me, and then students wonder when I can be accessible. So I found it makes much more sense for you to simply contact me when you want to talk to me. Send me an email and we can set up a phone call. We can talk asynchronously via email. We could do a special Zoom session. I'm happy to meet with you at whatever time is convenient for you over the next 4 weeks. You just need to be in touch with me and let me know that. Okay? Second point to note is that email communication is really important to me. I use email as my primary source of communication with students. I do have my cell phone number on there and you're welcome to call. I do not do texting with students, so if you want to be in touch with me in a written format, please use email. I will do my best to be back in touch with you within 12 hours if you send me an email. Usually I would say 24 during the semester, but our class goes so quickly over 4 weeks that I try to make it a 12-hour limit. I would also ask that you check your email regularly and respond to me in a reasonable amount of time if I'm putting in a request to you. Okay? Please note, it says here on the syllabus, we cover 14 weeks worth of material in 4 weeks. That means we move really quickly, and so you will want to hit the ground running. Please let me know if you have any difficulty at all as soon as possible accessing any of the material on Blackboard or accessing any of the material through Cengage's MindTap program. Okay, it's really important that we start this early. Once you get into the routine, you'll find it to be very easy to use, has been my experience. I'm not exactly a tech native the way many of you in your generation are, and I've learned to use this program pretty effectively, so I think that you'll have no difficulty adjusting. Okay. As far as accessing technology for the class, accessing Blackboard, if you have any difficulty with that at all, you can be in touch with the folks at Susquehanna. Either the phone number and the email address for the SU Help Desk are here on the syllabus. If you have troubles with accessing MindTap or the Cengage program, I suggest you contact them directly. And there's information here. There's also information on the welcoming module on our Blackboard site. It's been my experience that they respond really quickly to students having concerns, so you really should be in touch with them. You're welcome to contact me for any tech problems you're having, but the reality is I'm probably just going to forward you to those people anyway. If you want to CC me on emails, that would be fine so that I know you're having a challenge. If you want to let me know, that's just fine. It's just that if you want quick response, you're probably best off contacting either the folks at Cengage or the folks in Susquehanna's IT department directly to help you through with those things. Okay? One thing to note, on your computer, you will need to enable pop-ups or your access code won't work when you're trying to access information on the Cengage MindTap site. Again, that information was contained in an email I sent to you earlier this week. It is also contained in a document under the Welcoming Week module on our Blackboard site about accessing MindTap. So there's a variety of places where you can find this information reinforced until it becomes second nature, and then you'll be able to use it, I'm sure, very easily. As noted, and as I've already emailed you, we will use the Essentials of the Legal Environment book by Leroy Miller. The hard copy is in its 5th edition, but you're going to be accessing this with an access code. When you sign on to Blackboard, and the first time you click on one of the links to the Cengage MindTap program, whether it be to read part of the text or to complete one of the assignments, you will be asked to enter the access code. You'll enter your access code, and then from then on that computer will automatically be recognized, and the movement between Blackboard and Cengage will be pretty seamless. At least that's the way it's supposed to work, and in 5 or 6 semesters now of using this program, I have found it works pretty effectively. So, the course overview and learning objectives are pretty straightforward. For many of you are business majors, I believe. You will find that you, in the business world, will interact with government in ways that you might never have anticipated, and we're going to learn a little bit about that in this class. Whether you are of the opinion that government needs to be more involved in regulating business and industry, or whether you're of the opinion that they are too involved and should have less activity, less engagement with business and industry, either way, you're going to want to learn more about what the expectations are about the law. Now, the reality is that those of you who are going to be in business someday, if you own your own business or work for a company, you will probably interact with the law a lot. And in many of those instances, you will need to hire your own lawyer. But it is always best if you can converse in the kinds of terms and understand the general concepts with which they're working. And this class gives you a broad introduction to some of those concepts. Okay? My learning objectives are twofold in this class. The first set of them are presented in a way that are the things that I think and hope that you will learn in this class. The concepts in these areas of law are some of the material that is in the text. Now, the text we're using actually has 20 chapters, and we only go through 12 of them. The beauty of being the professor is I get to choose the ones I like the most. I was always also pretty careful to choose material that is not necessarily covered in depth in all of your other classes at Susquehanna, but that, for instance, you can take a class in environmental law, or you can take a class on international law. Those are available in full semesters, so I thought it makes more sense to leave those aside for others and to cover some of the other material that may not be covered in a full semester course at Susquehanna. So this is the material I'm hoping you will learn. You will find that particularly in these areas of law that we're going to discuss, you will find you will be given through the text lots of detailed information. Most of the assignments that I've developed for this class, both the quizzes you will take but also the written work you will do, are intended to help to reinforce those concepts and to have you apply them in ways so that they become more meaningful to you over time. Okay? This class still fulfills, I believe, interdisciplinary requirement as well as ethics intensive requirement. And several of the assignments are designed in such a way to help you to emphasize those elements of the class. Okay. Here we have a privacy statement, which should be found in the syllabus of any online winter or summer course that is taught at Susquehanna. It's effectively a reminder that you shouldn't cheat. Okay. We've all entered the world of Zoom classes in the last 6 months, 6 to 8 months, and found it to be a different world. The reality is it's probably easier to cheat in this world than it is in the real live classroom. I will hope that Susquehanna students will be honorable and do the right thing and not cheat. And I think I will just leave it at that. Now, things that students really want to know about as you begin the class. What are the assignments and expectations for the class? First, there is an attendance and participation expectation, which seems a little bizarre in a class that is predominantly asynchronous online. However, as you note by the email I had sent you earlier, I'm finding a time, perhaps 2 or 3 times, in order to accommodate everybody, when we will meet for 30 to 45 minutes to answer questions you may have about the material, to discuss the class, to discuss some of the hypotheticals that are raised in the textbook chapter and have us explore them a little bit more, to more fully explore some of the issues that you may raise in your discussion board. We will meet once a week, and you will be given 5 extra credit points for every class that you attend, assuming you participate in some way. And you will be docked. You'll be allowed 1 absence, and after that you will be docked 25 points from your final grade for every absence that you miss. So you're encouraged to do so, and you're penalized if you don't. Anybody having particular exceptions because of work or other matters would certainly be in touch with me. Okay. There's also a segment of work that I have listed here as not graded. For each of the chapters, you will see on Cengage, on MindTap, that there are anywhere between 2 and 4 worksheets for each chapter. I encourage you to complete these. They're a really good way for you to see whether or not you're learning the material, to kind of test yourself, to immediately apply it in a way that helps to reinforce it, and also to help you to prepare for the graded material that comes up later, both the quizzes and the tests. The questions that you will see on the worksheets mirror very closely those that you will find on the quizzes and on the tests. It has been my experience that those students who take the time to do the worksheets, even though they're not graded, will do better on the quizzes and the exams. So it's a tip that both I think you will learn more and I think you will get a better grade. So I encourage you to pay attention to those. Now for the graded material. With each chapter, there's a set of hypotheticals at the end of each chapter. They're hypothetical questions that really are a quiz of sorts. We'll be covering 12 chapters. There's a hypothetical at the end of each, and you will be graded on 10 of those, meaning if you do all 12, I'll simply take your top 10 grades, okay? They're helpful to reinforce the material. They're also, again, helpful as you begin to think and prepare for the exam that comes at the end of the week. So each week you will have 3 chapters, a set of quizzes after each chapter, and at the end of the week you will have a test, 50 question test that you will have to take in 60 minutes. That will be a compilation of all the material you've studied for the week. A difference between the hypotheticals and the exam, the amount of points is one of them, of course, but for your hypotheticals you get 2 chances to take it, and they're unlimited timeline-wise, so that you can spend an hour completing one. If it would take you an hour, I doubt it would. For both the hypotheticals and the exams, you can use your book, okay? So you should feel free to use the material that is in the book to help you answer the questions. But unlike the hypotheticals for the exams, you are timed, and you can only get 1 chance to take it. So you get a full hour to take it from the time you log on until the time you're finished, or you'll get pushed off after an hour. So you want to be prepared when you take the exam. Review the hypotheticals, review the worksheets, think about where the material is in the text so that you can reference it if you need to. And then you will have an hour to take 50 question exam. It's my experience that is sufficient time to do so. But you just want to know that there's a difference and that you only get 1 chance, and it is timed at 50 minutes, 60 minutes, okay? So that's 500 points of the class, comes out of both your quizzes and your exams. And then there's an additional set of work, which is more written materials. Number 1, I've set up a discussion board. There'll be a different discussion board each week, and I'll expect you to both post current events items with a link to a news item and to respond to other people's posts. Now, I have not taught this course since we've used the new form of Blackboard. For those of you who are first-year students, you may not know this, but we used a previous version of Blackboard in earlier years, and the discussion board works a little bit differently in this format, and I haven't used it yet, and I won't see what it looks like until we begin posting. So I'm going to ask to be patient with this. I think it will work okay. I have enabled the program to allow you to post individually and to respond to others' posts. This really is a way to try and think about what's going on in the real world and to see how that might apply to the material that we're discussing in this class. I think you will find various news items that will relate to the material that we're discussing in class. This is a way to both connect that material and to hopefully get a little bit of conversation going between students in an asynchronous class world, okay? Each week the discussion board will open at, I think I open it at 1 a.m. the day after the Saturday morning, and closes at 11 p.m. on Friday. 11 p.m. on Friday is the deadline for everything in the class. So your quizzes for each week need to be done by 11 p.m. on Friday. Your test for each week needs to be done by 11 p.m. on Friday. Any postings on discussion board will only count up until 11 p.m. on Friday. Okay, so that's kind of keeps you on task. You're welcome to work ahead, but you don't want to fall behind because that 11 p.m. deadline Fridays is rigid. Okay. So other written work that you will do for this class are some video reaction papers. There are, each week, I've chosen anywhere between 1 and 3 videos. You only need to do 1 of them, but I want to give some options sometimes. And those videos are published by the publisher, the book publisher. They're a little cheesy at times, but they're not bad, and they raise some pretty interesting questions, especially ethical questions about what you should do in a business setting that I think are important to consider. So I will ask you to watch those videos and then respond to a specific question that I have appended to each video to consider for that week. Those will be due 1 each week, worth 50 points each. Last but not least, on a weekly basis, you'll have an applied business law assignment. For the first week, you will simply pick a business that you either want to own or help run and describe to me what that business is, because in the next 3 weeks then, you will choose one of the concepts that we will learn about, and you will apply something from those chapters we have read to the business that you are running, quote unquote, right? So one of the weeks we talk about contracts, you may want to consider what kind of contractual challenges you may run into with the business you're dealing with. Or the week we discuss employment law, you may want to think about what kind of Fair Labor Standards Act and how that would apply to your employees. All of these assignments, by the way, are much more fully described in a document, separate documents that are posted on my courses. So you'll get a much more thorough description, both of the expectation for the assignment, and then with each assignment, there's a grading rubric for you to be able to look at as well. Okay. The last assignment is one that you will only do once, and you'll do it toward the end of the semester, and it's a set of alumni interviews that you will conduct. We have lots of great alums at Susquehanna. Many of them are now attorneys, and I think an interview with them will give you a sense of kind of how the law works in the real world. Again, the description is more fully presented on the Blackboard site. You will be expected to interview 2 attorneys who are alums over the course of probably toward the end of the semester. By the beginning of the second week, I'll send you a list of those alums who have agreed to be a part of this project this semester, or for this winter session. And you'll be able to contact them and do a phone interview with them sometime over the course of the last couple of weeks of our class. Okay, that will be worth 100 points. And then all of that together, you can figure this out. We're on a 1,000-point scale, which is the same as a 100-point scale. It's just that I don't like working in decimals. So these are the way your points would be allocated, or the grade would be decided based on the number of points you accumulate for the semester, for the winter session. Then there is a list here of what happens each week. And I'm going to go to week 3 because that fits on one page pretty well here. All of this material is also on Blackboard. There's a learning module for each week that has all of this. I find it helpful if I were taking the class. I would probably print out because I'm old-fashioned and I still work in hard copy. But I would print out or make available on my computer regularly this kind of set of week 1, week 2, week 3, and week 4 that exists on the syllabus, because it's a pretty concise way of looking at what needs to be done each week. You can kind of, for me, I'd have to check the boxes off and see that I had done them all. But week 3 here gives you an example. It's a reminder each week to post to the discussion board. It's a reminder each week that you want to complete your applied business law assignment at some point during the week. And then, probably somewhat in this order, complete the following materials. You'll read each chapter. For each week, I have done a video of my own that is a separate video that takes one concept that is dealt with in the chapters during that week and expands on it a little bit. So that, for instance, in week 3, it is a comparison between criminal law and civil law, particularly connected to the criminal law chapter that you will read. There are worksheets for each chapter. There's the video exercise that you will write your video response to, and then there's complete the graded quiz. Then again, chapter 8, you do the worksheets and the quiz. Chapter 12, you do the worksheets, the quiz, and then at the very end, you have the test. So it's a pretty clear outline for what is expected for each week during the 4-week session that we have. Last but not least, allow me to show you, if I can find it properly. Here we go. But I should probably go to what the student preview is going to look like rather than mine. Here's what our course looks like. We'll have the welcome. I suggest you start here. You'll find the syllabus, a little brief blurb on who I am and what I do besides teaching Accounting 210, one page or one couple of paragraphs on tips for getting started, the material I talked to you about in case you're having difficulty accessing MindTap. This video will also be posted there when it's completed. And then in this folder, you will find all of the assignment descriptions separately listed. Although I still have to add 2 more yet. So they're also listed in the modules for each week, but in case you can't find them or you want to go back and do a quick review, you'll find them there, okay? And then in each week, again, you will see a reminder that everything is due. A note on deadlines. I think I might have said this earlier, but just in case, Friday at 11 o'clock is the drop dead deadline, except for the first week, because Friday is New Year's Day. And so rather than have things due on New Year's Day, I made the deadline for week 1 Saturday at 11 p.m. Okay, so you have an extra day to complete things that first week. But each week you will see there's a discussion board begun. I've already listed begun with a news article that I posted for week 1 for you. There's also a description of the assignment in case you want it. There's the video that I presented to kind of introduce you to American politics and American government that is a good intro for this material. I provide the PowerPoint in case you're interested in seeing the PowerPoint that accompanies the video. And then bit by bit, read chapter 1, do the worksheet 1.1, 1.2. These show you that there's a link, and this link is going to be to the Cengage MindTap site. This means it's a graded assignment. Again, read, do the worksheets, do the hypotheticals, read, do the worksheets, do the hypotheticals, do your video reaction paper. Here's the video. Remind a place to post your applied business law assignment and your test. Okay. One last quick reminder and request. When you post a document, whether it be your applied business law document or your video reaction paper, please make sure that you post it as an attachment and as a Word doc, because that's the kind of document I prefer to grade. I can do track changes that way, I can make comments on it pretty easily, and I can give you some substantive feedback. Okay? So I think that's the overview for the class. Again, please do be in touch if you have any questions at all, and I look forward to working with you for the next 4 weeks. Thanks.